and the minor one is when the leadership of the prayers is the imam, the leadership of the prayers. But the major one is the one that has to do with guarding the or protecting the religion and protecting all its aspects and principles and to implement all its parts. But we're still continuing about the minor leadership, which is the imam of the prayers. And in continuing this, the Sheikh is talking about the encouragement of the benefits of characters. And this poet, he gives several advices, and he says uh, he's talking on behalf of someone who wrote a very beautiful poetry, and this poetry is talking about the character of the person, where Allah Azza wa Jal gave someone an old age to 60 or 70, like Allah said in the Quran. Didn't we give you an old age, and then you got the warning? Then take the punishment. There is no supported for those who were warned. And when the youth is gone, there's no comeback for it. And when the old age comes in, where can you run? So leave what happened to you during your youth, and remember your sins and cry to them. And remember the day of accountability, because everything's going to be accountable for. Allah will not forget anything whenever you forgot something you did. But the angels, they wrote everything where you are distracted and you are playing around. And the soul that you have to return it back whether you like it or not. Because Allah said when their death comes in, they will not be delayed 1 second, nor will they have more. And if you look back at in this life, it's actually just an enjoy that is gone, is voided, is not there anymore. So the poet is saying, know tonight that our breath are all counted for, and all what you have left and what you accumulated after your death is going to be stolen, is going to be distributed. Your money is all gonna go back, and our houses are given to those to destroy it. So everything you have accumulated during your life is gonna go waste. It's gonna go to someone else. And this life is not gonna last. It's going to be destroyed no matter what. So take this advice. The first one, it is an advice that's been experienced for someone who's seen what's going on in this life and what happens afterwards. Don't feel safe for this life. And the Sheikh is saying that no one's supposed to curse the time, because Allah said in the Quran, in the Hadith, that He is the time. He said the son of Adam tried to hurt his Lord by cussing the time, or to accuse him falsely with parenting a child. So take care of being God conscious. The one who is God conscious, he's the one who's going to be happy. And if you fulfill Allah's obedience, if you fulfill His obligations, you will be closer to Allah, because those who do what Allah obligated from them, they are close to Him. And be happy with what you got, because you're not gonna get more anyway. And to have despair from what happened, that's not going to. They said despair, it's one of two. Either you reach what you got and you're happy, or you give up And this is another relief. So when you give up on something, you are also relieved. So if you give up on what have missed you, that's good. So you not feel sore about it. And expect a treason from the women because they are full of treason. We do not agree with this statement because it is not right. If he had a bad experience with women, that does not mean that we have to agree with him. To make it a general rule, that's not right. And the Sheikh is saying this is the word of a human being. So again, he said, don't trust the woman all your life because she's like the snake. She will bite you whenever you're not expected. And if she swears by Allah, she is a liar. Of course, this is exaggerated. There is nothing better than being God conscious, and there is nothing better in life than the woman, the righteous woman that is reserved him in his household, his kids, who obey Allah Azza wa Jal, who remind him of Allah Azza wa Jal. The Shaykh is talking all the good characters of the Muslim. Of course, every person that he's talking about one part of women, that's not, we don't agree with him. A small part. And start your enemy with greeting and let him be afraid of you, not you afraid of him. And if you find him smiling, and he said the lions, you can see his teeth when he is angry. And the enemy, even if you beat him, he will always have that hatred in the heart. And there's two types of enemies: the people who hate the religion. The only way people will not have hatred if they are share the faith or in peace. And of course, during war, there is always a lot of mixed feelings and hatred and all that, and injuries and pains and stuff like this. And he said, if you meet your friend and he's like the enemy, that you need to avoid. Don't trust every friend that comes and talk to you sweetly, but in his heart is a different person. In front of you, he is your best friend, but behind you, he is the scorpion who's going to bite you. He give you from his tongue something that is sweet, but he is just like the fox trying to attack you. And take care of those who are honored, even if they did you wrong, because because the honor people, that to forgive them, it is better. And choose your companion, because your companion who is going to be compared to you. And poverty is humiliated to humans, to the men. The poor man, everything will be against him, and people turn all their doors to him, and you find him miserable, and he did not do anything, and he found the enormity from them. Even the dogs, she found a rich man, they will be waving their tail in excitement, but when they see a poor man, they start barking. This is, of course, a poetry that the Sheikh is reciting. And this poor person, everything's against him in life. money gives men some prestige, but it gives it depends on how you use it. And be kind to your in-laws and your relatives, and be forgiven for their whenever they hurt you or if they did you wrong. And stay away from the liars, because there is nothing worse than the liars. And before you say anything, be careful what you say, and don't be a person who always talk about every issue. So always measure your words before you let your tongue go unattached. The person will die because of something he did say. So protect your tongue. Don't make him like a snake that will going to bite you. How many people regret what they said? So hold your tongue. The Prophet ﷺ told us be to guard our tongue. And when Mu'adh was asked in the Prophet ﷺ, are we going to be accountable for what we say? He said, oh Mu'adh, is there anything who send people to the hellfire on their noses more than the cultivation of what they say? So protect your tongue. And be careful what you say, because you're going to protect yourself with your tongue. And if you have a secret, keep it. And don't talk about it, because once you break the glass, there is no way you can bring it back. So you cannot do that to glass. Same thing with the secret. So don't even utter with it. Don't say anything when you are told a secret. Keep it. And if you don't keep your secret alive, other tongues will start spreading rumors on it and lie. Don't be concerned. Don't be miser. Don't be stingy. You're going to get tired if you are stingy. The Prophet ﷺ said that he got inspired that no one will die before getting every sustenance that he gave. So fear Allah and ask him rightfully. Ibn al-Ata used to say, your shortcoming of what you are asked to do, which is to worship Allah, and being concerned of what is guaranteed to you, which is your sustenance, it shows that you're short seeing of the right things. So to be concerned about the thing that Allah has guaranteed to you, which is your sustenance, it shows how short vision you have. And the Shaykh is saying there's a saying, how many experts who don't have a single penny and he started to make money, and how many foolish people who have a lot of money? So it is Allah who provides this, not you or your goodness or your knowledge. So don't be concerned about it too much. Don't put all your effort into it. Just do your part and rely on Allah. How many handicapped person his sustenance comes to him? How many clever people they think they're going to get sustenance because of their intelligence, and they are disappointed. And the other advice: be good with be trustworthy and be just, and do not do wrong to people. And if something happened to you, any calamity, be patient. From those that you have seen, you don't see a Muslim that's going to be hurt. And if you have doubts, then turn to your Lord. He is closer to those who call him from the mother's wombs. And be careful to be with the stingy, because it is contagious, just like the disease of the skin. So make sure that your companion, your friend, is someone who is good, not someone who is bad. The Prophet ﷺ said, from there is a magic that is halal, which is the magic of the words that going to reflect a good effect on people's heart. And don't forget that every person you take from their words, from their statements, from their opinions, and you turn back, except for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The only absolute asma or protection is from Allah and His Messenger. And we hope this is from the small that Allah has put an exception, that the poets are followed by the foolish. You see them in every place and they say what they don't do. But Allah put an exception for those who believe and did good deeds and remember Allah in abundance, and they gave victory after they were transgressed on. And all those who transgress, they will know what life will turn against them. Someone who had a wife who left him, and he was in pain, and then he woke up out of that pain, and he said to her that he don't concern anymore. You have replacement. And at one time, he sent her these. He said, "Who's gonna tell the beautiful that her husband is eating and good? Don't think that life stops. That life's still going on. So if she leaves, it's okay. That he still, if he wants, then he will have someone who is going to dance and sing to me." The point means that if he's still giving a message for his wife who left him, that he is okay. He have other choices, and life does not stop right there with her. Maybe Umar will be look, and then he got, and Umar got angry because this person is talking about adultery and getting drunk. And Umar said, there is a had, there is a punishment for you because you have incriminated yourself by these poetry. That he said that because of what you have done. He said, yes, indeed, I don't like it, but you admitted that you have committed a crime, I will punish you. And the man, he said, oh, Allah gave me the in the Quran. He said, didn't Allah say that the shara is followed by the, and they say what they don't do? He said, a word. It's just word. Do you believe everything you hear? It's just words. So Umar said, this is okay. And Umar stops where Allah says. If you give him the book of Allah, he will stop. And he said, okay, but you don't work for the Muslims anymore. The best one that you hire is the one who is strong and trustworthy. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you hire someone on a group of people and there is someone who's better in achieving that goal, he have committed treason against Allah and His Messenger and the believers. So Allah is ordering you to give the trustworthy to its rightful people. So if you put someone on a position, he have to be trustworthy, he have to be strong, and he should be the best one. And the first thing you need to know, the one who asks for it, you should not get it. Or someone is concerned about that position. And then you look for the strength and the trustworthiness. Those who waste the public money, they should not be in there. And that's why our situation is deteriorating, because we don't give the position to those who deserve it. When Muslims led the whole globe more than 10 centuries, and when we lost the trust that Allah put on us, we became at the bottom. The Sheikh still talking about poetry, to talk about the same point. About not putting the wrong people in the right place. And part of it, that you don't put a fox to take care of the sheep, of course he's gonna eat them. This is like a catch up. Well, Allah, that you have benefit from it. Shall we continue Thursday? The Sheikh is going to finalize with the last thing, with that saying of the Prophet ﷺ. Can you lead with the Quran? For example, the Sunnah on Fajr, that you prolong the prayers, even on the obligatory one. If he did, then he can open the book, no problem, because there is no difference between obligatory and non-obligatory. Aisha, her servant Ibn Dhakwan, he used to open the book and read. When Sheikh bin Baz was asked, he said it is allowed if there is a need for it. Just like it is allowed to read from the Quran and the Taraweeh for those who do not memorize the Quran. And to prolong the prayers in Fajr, it is Sunnah. So if the Imam don't memorize everything or know the whole Quran, then he can open the Quran and read from. But he is allowed, he needs to memorize the Quran and to work hard on this and memorize the Quran. So his recitation will be from his heart, not from the book. Just like we see in the majority of the Muslims all these centuries. Another thing we conclude with, the standing of the Imam with the people. Like we always make a rules. How do we do it? If there is one person who's going to be with the Imam, that person need to stand to his right, not behind him, except for the woman. If a woman if she pray behind the man, she make her own line behind the man. She's not gonna stand next to him. And this is there is a hadith that says no one can pray behind the man except if there is only one person, except for the woman, that she could do it, have an own line behind the imam. In the hadith of Ibn Abbas, the Prophet ﷺ stood to pray and I stood on his left. So he took my ear and he put me on his right side. And this shows that when one person pray with another person, he need to go on his right side. Otherwise, the Prophet ﷺ will not do that to Ibn Abbas. Let's suppose the Imam and the other one was on the left and he prayed all the way. It is accepted if he did not know, because the Prophet ﷺ did not order Ibn Abbas to make the takbirah again. He just pulled him to his right side, and if it is a part of the condition of the prayers, then his entering of the prayers was wrong, because he came in the wrong form, but does not void it. But whomever does it, he have didn't do the most the best. Now, if there is two people behind the imam, two can be on the right side. Two for more, it will be behind the imam. So the two will stand behind the imam, and the imam in the middle. Because of the hadith Jabir Abdullah, he said, I came and I stood next on the left of the Prophet ﷺ. So he took my hand and he put me on his right hand. Then Jabbar ibn Sa'ar came in and made wudu, and then he stood on the left of the Prophet ﷺ. So the Prophet ﷺ, he took our hands and he pushed us behind us, so he put us behind him. And this indicates that the two men and more, they have to be behind the imam. And the hadith of Anas also that supports it, that the Prophet ﷺ stood up to the prayers, and I stood and the orphan behind him and the old woman behind us. The orphan is someone who did not reach 14, 15. And the old woman is, she formed her own line. And he prayed 2 rak'ahs and then he left. You understand two things. First one, that you can have the young boy to stand next to you on the line, and does not, if he is next to you, he is not cutting the rows. But if he is below, knowing what is going on, then you have to move him around, because that's going to cut the connection of the line. And the first row can be boys too, because whomever can be to the first row is for those who go there first, whether he's a boy or an old man or a regular man, whatever. Whomever goes there, first come, first serve. The other thing, the woman by herself, she prays behind the last men's row, if she form her own row, and the imam stand in the middle of those who are behind him. This is what all the people of knowledge do. There is another hadith that is weak. It said, make the imam in the middle and cut the gap between you. But to practice on it in the Sunnah, that the Imam has to be in the middle of the masjid. This is what Muslims used to. So the row start from the middle, from one behind the Imam. Like this, suppose the first row is finished. Someone came in, or two, came to start the second row. They came from here or there. They start from the middle. They don't start from either side, behind the Imam. So it's always the middle, behind the Imam. And then go right and left. And the right of each row is better than its left. And it's better not to start a line until you complete the first row. It doesn't matter if there's more on the right. It doesn't have to be equal, but don't start the second row until you finish the first row, or the third until you finish the second row, and so on and so forth. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he ordered us to do so. So if women stood in rows in the prayers, and one woman took the leadership, she don't stand in the middle like the men do. No. The man, when he take the leadership, he stand in the middle, ahead of them. But if the woman is leading the prayer, she stand in the middle of the row, not in front of them. Because Salama, may Allah be pleased with her, if she took the leadership of the women, she stand with them in the same row. And Aisha did the same thing so. And that's more covering to the women and more good for. The last thing we're going to conclude with, the arrangement of the rows, and the men, like then men, then kids, and then women. How do you arrange it? The men have to stand behind the Imam, but of course for those who come first. Then the kids or the boys, again, unless they are competing, because always the one who comes first get that position he got, because the kid who came in before the elders and took his place in the first row, don't tell him, oh, go back. No, you shouldn't do that. You have to encourage him and keep him there. Or there is an excuse for it. What does it mean, the men first and then the kids? If they all came in at the same time. But if you have a school and we opened all the gates, a lot of kids came in the masjid. They formed their own rows behind the men. Unless it's going to make a chaos, we put two adults between two kids to make sure they don't misbehave during the prayers. We want to encourage people to the masjid. We need to encourage them to the prayers. And we also want to preserve the prayer itself, so the elder will be able to concentrate in their prayers with no distraction. So first the men, if they are there first, and then the kids, unless there is an excuse, and then the women behind the boys. The Prophet ﷺ used to say, the elder, the wise people behind me, because if there is Imam need to leave, one of those behind him will be able to continue. Or if he made a mistake in his recitation, he will answer him or know how to deal with every other situation with the prayers. Ameen. So the order men, then boys, then women. That's if they came together. But whomever come first deserve that one, except for the women, they stay in the back of the rows. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, you don't let someone stand from his position and take over his position. One of the scholars, since while Ibn Baz was alive, he said, I saw an old man with a stick. He came to the masjid late. Before 1405 Hijri, he saw a kid in the first row. So he hit him with the stick. He said, go back. And he sat in his place. So he told him, the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, let those who follow me is the ones with the wise and elder. So he said, so I saw this is weird, so I asked the Ibn Baz, and he was the Imam. So he cleared that this is wrong and it's not supposed to happen. But the kids, to return, if they came and no one was there first, then they could be behind. But it is those who are wise or elder, they need to come early so they could be behind the Imam. The Prophet ﷺ, he told them to encourage them to come in first. That does not mean that they need to do wrong to the kids and push them backwards in the lines. But it was a statement of encouragement for them to come early, to rush to be behind the Imam. Subhanallah, we'll continue inshallah on Thursday.